Thank you, Pedro, and thank you, Professor, for that introduction. And thank you to everyone who is responsible for this amazing partnership. We are really, really excited to be here tonight. And on behalf of University of Dayton School of Law, we just want to thank all of you for this invitation, for this partnership, and for the over 280 people who are on this live stream. Thank you for joining us this evening. My colleague Walter Haas is advancing the slide deck. So Walter, maybe we can move to the next slide. We just wanted to provide an overview of what we will be covering today. I think probably we'll be speaking for about 30 to 45 minutes, and this is meant to be interactive, so please feel free to use the chat feature to ask any questions during the presentation. We'll do our best to address all of them. So the first thing we're going to discuss today is this amazing partnership that we have with Mackenzie. As you'll see, as we discuss University of Dayton and our program, you'll see a lot of similarities between our two institutions, the culture at our two institutions, and the programs that we offer. And so there's just an amazing opportunity for collaboration and being able to pursue this LLM degree entirely online represents really the next stage in legal education and in these partnerships with universities. So we're really excited to be able to provide that overview. We'll also go more in depth about our online LLM program and also provide general background information about the bar and career opportunities in the United States. At the end of the presentation, we will cover briefly the application process. And this is meant to be hopefully the first in many conversations that we will have over the next few months. I know there are many webinars that are planned with Mackenzie. And also Walter and I and our colleagues are available to answer questions as well. So we can move on to the next slide. This is our Dean for Graduate Programs, Jeffrey Schmidt. He's not able to join today, but he oversees all of the non-JD programs at the University of Dayton School of Law, including the online LLM program. And he actually has developed our constitutional law course in the online LLM program. We can move to the next slide. That's me. Not much to introduce there other than to mention I work with all the aspects of the online LLM program. So for students who are in the program or who will join the program, you'll work very closely with me, both in terms of academic advising, coordination with faculty members, career counseling, and even bar preparation. So I'm happy to work with all of you on that. I'm a licensed attorney. I graduated from law school in 1996 from Georgetown University, and I worked in the field of immigration law, both with the U.S. Department of Justice as well as in private practice. Since 2010, I joined legal education. I worked as a law professor teaching legal research and writing. And since 2014, I've actually worked exclusively with online LLM programs. I joined University of Dayton in 2018, and in 2019, as you'll see, we launched the online LLM program focusing in U.S. law at the University of Dayton. So we can move to the next slide. So the partnership, this is the most exciting part of tonight's presentation, is being able to finally announce this partnership. It's been many, many months in the making, a lot of work, a lot of meetings, a lot of collaboration. But through that process, we've gotten to know your professors and your administration, as well as your curriculum and your university very well. And so we're just so excited to be able to provide more details about this partnership. As you'll see in the upcoming slides, our LLM degree is normally a 30-credit, 12-course program. The tuition is $37,000. And so normally students who are coming into the program would have to complete those full 30 credits, and there would not be a guaranteed scholarship that is available. Through this partnership, we are able to recognize credits based on the coursework that you've completed in all the different law programs at Mackenzie University, whether you're in the bachelor program, the master program, or the doctoral program. We are able to recognize your law school credits and apply them towards the LLM. By doing that, you are able to complete the program with less credits and less courses. In addition, we also offer a guaranteed scholarship for the program. So we can move to the next slide. The scholarship reflects over a 70% discount on what the published tuition rate is. And so for those of you who are interested in joining the program, whether in August or in January, those are our next 2 semesters, you would be able to complete 20 credits in the LLM program for $9,500 US. That's a really great deal, and we have priced the program at that rate in order to really make it affordable and accessible for students to be able to participate in the program. We can move to the next slide. A little bit of background about the University of Dayton. We were founded in 1850. As is the case with Mackenzie, we are a private university. We are recognized as a top-tier national university and one of the 10 best Catholic universities in the United States. There are approximately 11,000 students, 1,000 of whom are international students, studying at our beautiful campus in Dayton, Ohio. Our university is accredited by the North Central Association of Colleges and Secondary Schools, and the law school has been accredited by the American Bar Association, which is the accrediting body for law schools in the US since 1975. We can move to the next slide. For the School of Law, we have about 150 students per class at the law school, and that would be on campus in Dayton, Ohio. In our online LLM program, we have about 55 students right now who are participating from around the world. The law school has seen a period of growth over the past few years, with over 10 new faculty joining just in the past 5 years. In addition, within these past 5 years, the law school has introduced new programs, including non-JD programs in government contracting and with our fully online LLM program. The university is very well known as well in the fields of law and technology and in human rights. And we have a lot of online programs as well, including being one of the only law schools in the United States to offer a fully online JD degree. We can move to the next slide. So now, the program we're here to really focus on tonight is University of Dayton School of Law's online LLM program. As I mentioned, we launched this program in 2019 with the express purpose being to expand the accessibility and the affordability of the LLM degree to students from all over the world. University of Dayton has had and continues to have an on-campus LLM program in American and transnational law, but we found that for many students, they couldn't afford being able to come to the US and participate in the on-campus program. As Pedro mentioned, it was an opportunity that really was limited to those being able to afford the full cost, the $37,000, being able to go through the visa processing, travel to the US, and have the housing and all the extra costs that are associated with on-campus study. So by offering and developing an online platform, we're able to offer our same LLM program to students all over the world who don't want to have to pack up and move to the US in order to pursue the program, and who don't want to spend that extra money to be able to pursue the on-campus program. Our LLM in American and transnational law can be completed 100% online, and that online curriculum is focused on US law and legal practice. We can move to the next slide. Whether students pursue the degree on campus or online, they get the exact same diploma. We actually had our graduation ceremony last Friday, and we had about 15 students from our online program earn their LLM degree, and they were recognized at that graduation ceremony. So should you decide to join the program within about a year, you'll be able to be recognized at that graduation ceremony as well next day. Next slide. So our online LLM program, as I mentioned, is made up of 30 credits. That's 12 courses. Again, through this partnership, students who have completed either the Bachelor in Law, the Master's in Law, or the postgraduate program in law from Mackenzie are able to have 10 credits applied towards the LLM degree. So you are able to complete with only 20 credits. That corresponds to about 8 courses. So you could complete it within even 2 semesters, 8 months, but students can take up to 3 years. So it all depends on how long you want to take to complete the LLM degree. We do have 3 starts and 3 semesters per year: January, May, and August. Actually, today is the very first day of the semester for our May semester, so it's been a very busy couple of weeks and a very busy day. Our next semester begins on August 23rd, and then the one after that in January. Students are able to start in any of these semesters, and you can take classes in any of these semesters. Next slide. So when we mentioned the curriculum is focused on U.S. law and legal practice, well, what does that mean? Well, it means that you will, through this program, get a foundation in the legal subjects that form the basis for U.S. law. So a lot of the students in our program have studied in civil law countries, as it is the case from Brazil, and they are interested in learning more about common law and specifically about U.S. law. And so you'll see that the courses are the ones that form the foundation of U.S. law. 10 of the 12 subjects are focused on specific legal subjects. The other 2, Introduction to U.S. Law and Legal Analysis, Reasoning, Research, Writing, and Communication, are ones that focus on skills development and legal practice in the United States. So our goal is, as students complete the program, that they are able to get the legal doctrine that they need in order to understand U.S. law and U.S. legal issues and better represent their clients, and also to obtain a better understanding of law practice in the United States. And that can be very helpful whether you yourself are representing clients in the U.S. or whether you have co-counsel who's in the United States, and being able to really speak that same legal language and be able to work together to resolve legal issues on behalf of your clients. I've highlighted in green the courses that are required for our students. So even if you get your 10 credits recognized through your studies at Mackenzie, you absolutely have to take the courses that are highlighted in green. Together, these come out to 12 credits. That means you are then able to select 8 more credits based on the other courses. Should you decide to complete the full 30 credits, that's fine. We will honor the per credit scholarship rate for up to the full 30 credits. So it's up to you however many credits you want to take above the 20 credits. We can move to the next slide. So for those of you who are currently pursuing your bachelor's degree, you are actually eligible for something that nobody else is unless they're coming in through a university partnership. And that is an early start, an early admission into our LLM program. So while you are still pursuing your bachelor's in law, you are able to start your LLM degree. And that's one of the luxuries with a fully online program, is that you are able to do that and still be able to keep up with your other studies. We've gone through a rigorous process of reviewing your curriculum, reviewing our courses, and we have found that the courses that are on the left of my screen are ones that we can give credit for towards our LLM degree. And so you're able to see the courses, the required grade that you need to have from Mackenzie, and how many credits can be applied towards our LLM degree. In total, you can transfer in up to 10 credits. For those of you who are in the master's degree programs or the postgraduate programs, you don't need to go through a transfer in credit. Based on the degree that you already have in law, we are able to award 10 credits of advanced standing towards your degree. You can move to the next slide. And that's what is highlighted here. And again, whether you transfer in the credits or whether you get the advanced standing as a master's student, a postgraduate student, or alumni, You still have to complete 12 required credits and then the 8 additional credits of electives. We can move to the next slide. So we've talked about the curriculum in our online LLM program, that it builds off of the program that has been offered historically on campus in Dayton, Ohio, and that it's available fully online. I'd like to speak a little bit about our online program. Through COVID, a lot of schools have shifted to online education. So I know that many of you are familiar with the online platforms, whether meeting in a synchronous live format through Teams like we're doing today, or whether reviewing asynchronous content. So our program is asynchronous, meaning the lectures are pre-recorded. Having said that, we do think it's very important for students to be able to have those live interactions with their professors and with their classmates. And so we do have optional live sessions as well in all of our courses. At least 3 live sessions. We use Zoom, so at least 3 live sessions through Zoom in every course, every semester. Also, our professors have weekly office hours. Most of them use Zoom for those office hours. So again, for those of you who want to meet regularly with your professor and your classmates, you are able to do so. For those of you who don't want to meet live or you have other commitments, you are able to review. Anything that is required is pre-recorded and available in each of the class sites. We mentioned that there are 3 times that you can begin each year: January, May, and August. In each of those semesters, we offer about 4 or 5 courses, and each of the courses is between 2 and 4 credits. It's up to the student how many classes you want to take each semester. So this is very different for students who are studying on campus in the LLM program. In order to maintain the visa requirements, students have to take a certain number of credits each semester, and they have to be in face-to-face on-campus instruction. A nice thing with the online program is you don't have that restriction. So if you only want to take 1 class, that's fine. If you want to take 4 classes, that's fine too. The only thing that will happen is if you complete 1 class per semester, it will take you longer to finish the degree. It may take you the full 3 years. If you take 4 classes, you could potentially finish within 2 semesters. That decision is up to you. So our curriculum is also aligned with the current requirements for the Washington and California bar exams. And so I want to take a moment to speak about bar admission in the United States. This is something different, than what we see in other parts of the world. In the U.S., there is not one federal bar admission that takes place. Instead, every state has their admission requirements to practice law in that state. Why? Because something called federalism. We have state laws, we have federal laws. And so if you want to be licensed to practice law in a state, you need to meet that state's bar eligibility requirements. That includes legal education requirements, character and fitness requirements, and exam requirements, including a bar exam and a multi-state professional responsibility exam. So when we say that our curriculum is aligned with the requirements for Washington and California, that means that if you were to apply for bar admission in the states of Washington or California, and you went and you asked, okay, I earned my law degree in Brazil, I want to be able to take the bar exam, and they would say, okay, you are able to do so if you also complete an LLM. That the curriculum has certain courses, and each of those courses is a certain number of credits. So our curriculum has those courses, has those credits, and both Washington and California accept online education. And so again, if you are interested in being able to pass in any state, Washington and California could be 2 options for you. We do note that we cannot guarantee bar admission because, again, each person's application is individual and includes a full background check as well. So there are other steps beyond just having the legal education requirement. We can move to the next slide. So additional highlights in our online LLM program. You get free reading materials, so there's no textbooks that you have to buy. Everything is available in each of the class sites. In addition to that, we provide study guides for our students online, so you can get access to extra lectures, extra practice multiple choice questions, and extra essays. This is a tremendous resource for those of you who really want to go more in depth into each of the subjects that is covered. We also offer things that are going to help you as you plan ahead for your career. And so we do that in two different ways. One is free career counseling services. University of Dayton has an office and that is responsible for helping students find jobs and prepare for jobs. And so that includes how to draft your CV if you're looking for jobs in the United States, how to draft a cover letter, how to set up job alerts. They can connect you with alumni that practice in certain fields of law and that work in certain geographic areas. So they're really able to help students who are working on their LLM plan ahead for that next step in their career. Also, we recognize that many of the students that complete our LLM also have an interest in legal scholarship. And so for those of you who like to publish articles or give presentations at conferences or at bar meetings, you also have free access to online library resources. Starting in the first semester, students have access to Bloomberg Law, which is a legal research database. And then when you take that legal writing course, you also get access to Lexis and Westlaw. All of these are included within the cost of the tuition, which, as we mentioned through this partnership, would be $9,500 US, which is paid as you work through the program and based on how many credits and courses you take each semester. The next slide. So what might be some of the benefits of completing the LLM degree online through University of Dayton School of Law? Well, you will get a comparative perspective on all of the legal issues that are in our curriculum. So coming from a civil law background, I think this is going to really help you better understand how a common law legal system addresses different types of legal issues. In addition, for those of you who might be interested in taking the bar exam and getting licensed in the United States, well, you are going to get the foundation in those bar tested subjects through the curriculum. For those of you who have more of a focus on representing clients and maybe working with co-counsel in the US, where you wouldn't necessarily need the license, but you would want to understand how legal practice works in the US, but you'll be able to see that as well through these courses. The next slide. Mentorship. We think it's really important. Getting your law degree isn't just learning the legal subjects. You could get a book on civil procedure in the US and read through it. We want law school to be more than just the legal doctrine that you're going to learn in your classes. And so for that reason, we think mentorship is really important, both through your professors, through the administrative team at University of Dayton, and through supplemental activities that we have. We've also already mentioned every week our professors meet for at least 1 hour with their students through weekly office hours. We also have live review sessions where professors and classmates can come together through Zoom. But in addition to that, we have different webinar series that we have. You'll see our Law in the Americas series that we've been hosting for several months now, and we have things scheduled out for a year. And we cover different legal subjects. In addition to that, on campus, we host events in law and technology, in human rights, and in international law. I know the law and technology full-day seminar is going to be live streamed and is free for students. So these are things that you'd be able to participate in and have that extra opportunity for mentorship and for networking. And we've also mentioned expanded opportunities for scholarship and research as well. We can move to the next slide. Enhanced professional credibility. University of Dayton School of Law is accredited by the American Bar Association, and an LLM degree is a graduate degree in law. And so earning the degree will help you enhance your professional credibility. And in addition, as I've mentioned, you can also expand your network of attorneys all over the world. We have students in different time zones all over the world, and they come together in the program. It really is amazing. And for those of you who want to join any of the student organizations that are available on campus, you're able to do so as well. Next slide. All of these things together should help as you look at different positions as an attorney, whether in transnational fields of law, such as investor law, tax law, intellectual property, business law. All of these fields have become increasingly transnational. Also, immigration, if you work with labor mobility, this is something that can be very beneficial for you, and also working within in-house counsel positions. We can move to the next slide. So for those of you who might be interested in applying for the program, we have a streamlined application process. Again, this is another benefit of the partnership that we have with Mackenzie University. There is not a standardized test that you have to take. Our focus is whether you are either currently working on your bachelor's degree in law, or if you have one already, or and for qualifying for the guaranteed scholarship and the credit recognition. We also look at your current standing, whether as a graduate or a current student in your studies, either at the bachelor's, master's, or postgraduate level. We can move on to the next slide. We have an application that we can email out to you. You just need to complete that, as well as a short personal statement, your updated CV, 2 recommendations, and government-issued photo ID. We've included English proficiency. It's very easy. If you've already completed a TOEFL or IELTS within the past 2 years, you can send us this official score report and we're done. If not, it's not a problem. We do have a waiver process where we can look at alternate proof of English proficiency. So if you have completed another assessment, a Cambridge certification, a Duolingo, if you completed an exchange program where the medium of instruction was in English, or even if you've taken courses at Mackenzie where the courses were taught in English, those are all things that we will consider as proof of proficiency. Our main focus is making sure that students have the proficiency to be able to succeed in the program and understand the concepts that are covered. Next slide, please. Our next semester begins on August 23rd. The deadline is 1 month before the semester begins, and we typically complete our review within 1 to 2 weeks. And so we'd ask that anyone who's interested, we'd encourage you to reach out to us. And advance to the next slide. We have our contact information at the end of the slide deck right here. You can reach out to Walter or myself, and we would be happy to visit with you and provide additional information about the program and next steps in the application process. We can move to the next slide. We also encourage you to join us in our Law in the Americas speaker series. We advance to the next slide. We have several events that are coming up on June 18th and on August 19th, and as well as on June 24th. And actually, I think that might be a typo. I believe it's May 24th. Actually, that is our webinar with Mackenzie, Transnational Lawyers in a Globalized World. And as Pedro mentioned, we have a series of webinars that we are working on directly with Mackenzie. And so we hope that you will join us at those webinars as well as at our Law in the Americas webinars. Next slide. So now we are at the point for question and answer. I know we had estimated about 1 hour total, so I think we, even within the original allotment, we still have a couple of minutes for question and answer. So I'm happy to answer any, and I think we might have some questions on the next slide, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I see a hand up from Amanda. Yes, Pedro, or should I go through the chat and see, or are there
Let us see if they want to ask the question with their own voice, or if they want to write it down. Please feel free, Amanda or Lucas.
Lucas and
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to know, I'm currently taking the bachelor's degree here in Brazil. I'm in the 7th semester, and I would like to know, when you said that we would complete the course, like we could complete the course like within 3 years, if um how many course credits are those? Are like two subjects like course credits? I didn't get that part, because I was like worried about like managing like both here and the online program all together.
Perfect. Thank you, Amanda. That's a great question. Walter, can we go back to the slide, which it was early in the slide deck, if we can go back? One more. There we go, right here. All right, so perfect. Amanda, you mentioned you were in your 7th semester of study in your Bacharel program. So you are eligible to start our program at any point. As long as you're in good standing in your bachelor's studies, you're able to begin. So I think the follow-up question was, well, how would it exactly work? And so Walter, if you advance to the next slide, or maybe two more, or a few more, sorry. Few more. There we go. All right, go back. And one more. All right, so as a bachelor student, you're eligible to transfer in up to 10 credits of your study. So if you're eligible for that, you would only need to complete 20 credits. That can be as little as 8 courses. Our main requirement is that before you can get the LLM degree completed, you have to finish your bachelor's degree, because that's your first degree in law. And so as you plan out how many courses you want to take each semester, you have to look at, okay, in order for me to finish my bachelor's degree, how much time do I have left? And then based on that, we're able to work one-on-one. I could sit down with you and map out, kind of the course schedule, so you'd know, okay, I'm going to start with Introduction to U.S. Law. That would be my recommendation. If you are concerned as far as how much time you have to study, each course is anywhere from 8 to 10 hours per week of studying. And so any students that have those concerns, we suggest that they start with one course with the Introduction to U.S. Law. And then if you want to take more, you certainly can, but at a minimum, you would take that. We offer courses once per year. So whichever courses are offered that you don't take, you would then take that following year if you want to complete them. Does that help, Amanda?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm gonna write to you then later, okay, for further questions, like
Perfect.
in your email.
That would be great. And then what we can do is we request the transcripts from Mackenzie, and we're able to review the courses that you've completed, and then make sure when you come in to the program, you'll know exactly how many credits you are getting as transfer in, and then how many credits you need to complete. And then we work one-on-one with the students so that we can map out that schedule. The goal being that you complete your bachelor's degree in law before you complete the LLM, but Perfect. You can be pursuing both simultaneously.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think Lucas was next in line.
Yes, Professor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay. Firstly, thank you so much for the lecture. It was very clarifying. And my question regards to the prerequisites to enroll myself in the program. One of the main prerequisite for undergraduate students is to have finished the 7th semester of the graduation, right?
Correct.
Okay, and the second question is in regards to the prerequisites on regards to the expertise in the language. Me and some friends of mine have graduated in American high school. So we have the American regular student high school diploma, and for my friend, he had even taken the STAR exam by Texas. So my question would be, would we also need to do the TOEFL and the IELTS, or we don't need to improve our proficiency by those texts once we have the American high school diploma?
Yep, Lucas, that's a great question. And so, and this, I think a lot of people will have this question. No, you don't need to worry about completing the TOEFL or the IELTS. What you would need to do is just as part of the application, it can be even in a Word document or a PDF, you can say, I'm requesting waiver of the TOEFL or IELTS. I completed my secondary school or even kindergarten through 12th grade in an American school, a fully bilingual school, and you would just need to present that as a waiver request. And then, some type of documentation to verify that. So it could be your transcripts from high school, but no, you would not need to go through an extra process.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I believe Caroline is next.
Hello, Margaret, and all those who are listening to us. It's a pleasure to be a part of this webinar. Thank you so much for for everything, My question is regarding the credits in transfer. I'm currently taking some of the classes that would be transferred, and there is one that I would only take on the next semester. So would I have to, are we able to pursue that before we even take those classes? Or
yes. So here is the risk to you. So the quick answer is you don't need to wait to complete those courses to apply for the program, but we cannot award the transfer credit until you've completed the courses and you've earned the required grade in the courses. And so that's the only question is, if you have not yet completed a course, if you don't get, Walter, I believe the grade was 8, is that correct? Walter, if you can. There we go. Yes. So let's say you're taking international contracts next semester. The question is, will you get an 8? And then we can transfer in that credit. We are able to proceed with the early admission, and then we can make note in that that you're planning to take those courses. If you are successful in the course and you get over an 8 or higher, then we would be able to apply that transfer in credit.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carolina. I think Larissa is next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Hi, Margaret. So I have 2 questions, actually. One that was asked in the message part. The first one, do the recommendation letters need to be from former or current professors, or could they be from our employers, considering lots of us start internships and focus mostly on internships in actual school, considering they're lawyers as well?
Yes, thank you. That is an excellent question, and actually probably one that alumni will have too, because if you've been out of school for several years, it might be easier to get a letter from an employer. That's fine. We will consider letters from anyone who can speak to your background in law, your professionalism, your responsibility. And so that can include professors, it can include employers or supervisors. It can even include if you have done a lot of community service and volunteer work. It could be your supervisor there. We don't accept recommendations from a family member or to someone who's a friend, but if it's a professor or someone who is in a supervisory position, those are accepted.
Okay, and then the next one, I'm sorry. You mentioned the cost would be around $9,500. I assume there will be, once we enroll, there will be a contract. Do you know if that contract would be in dollars or in the Brazilian currency, considering the changes in the amount of how much the dollar costs here?
Larissa, that's an excellent question, and I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a similar type of question, even when I talk with prospective students who are not with a university partner. Unfortunately, the scholarship is going to be tied to U.S. dollars, and so that's the university's processes. Tuition is paid each semester based on how many credits a student takes, and so to the extent that there are concerns, I mean, my suggestion would be maybe take the maximum amount of courses within each semester, because once somebody registers, then they're able to pay their tuition, and that is typically done through a third-party site called Flywire. We use that to facilitate the international wire transfer.
Okay, and then usually at the beginning of the semester we pay in one installment.
Correct, in one installment in the beginning of the semester. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Larissa. I believe Roberta is next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, thank you.
My question is in regards to the number of students you can accept in a semester. So is there a limited amount and limited number of students?
No, so there's not a limited number of students. I mean, the students have to meet our admission requirements, but assuming students meet their admission requirements, there is not a cap on enrollment. Actually, we had, I guess, the good problem, or as Pedro, to borrow your words, the good headache. We had this semester where a class was full. We were able to open an additional section. And so in that event, because that's the beauty with online education, is if we have more students than we think should be in a class. This was specifically in our legal writing course. There were more than 20 students, and we did not want to have that many students in one class. So we have added another section so that the professor is able to work closely with the students. So there is not a cap. Having said that, we do encourage students to apply as early as possible, because we want to make sure that students can be in their classes even a few days before the semester begins. I actually am experiencing this right now. I had some students that applied after the deadline, it's kind of last minute, and so now we're just trying to get them into the classes, and all their classmates were actually able to join the classes on Friday, even a few days before the semester began. So we'd encourage you to apply as soon as possible to make sure that you're able to access the courses once they're available. But we do accommodate, and we can add sections or courses as needed if there are more students than anticipated applying in any semester. And we have about an equal. Yep, thank you. And we have about an equal amount of students that start, whether it's in the May, January, or August semesters, because many of our students work full time. For them, summer vacation is, they're working year round, and so they're happy to be pursuing the program year round as well. Isaac, I think you are next in line. Isaac?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can, thank you.
Well, thank you. My question is directed towards the eligibility towards the bar. I've done a bit of research, and specifically in the state of New York, they said that if you're a graduated lawyer in a foreign state, especially in civil law, you can become eligible if you perform an LLM degree in the United States in an accredited school. Would this specific program also, also count towards that?
Isaac, that's a great question, and I commend you for doing your homework, so that's wonderful. Unfortunately, my answer is no. This program will not qualify for New York, and the reason is that New York requires that the LLM be completed on campus in face-to-face instruction. So if you wanted to pursue the degree on campus in Dayton, Ohio, that could be an option, but the online program would not be eligible for the New York bar. And I would say for anyone who's interested in learning more, if you visit the National Conference of Bar Examiners website, they have a comprehensive guide to bar admission requirements. And Chart 4 specifically provides an overview of the foreign legal education requirements. We also have a link to that on our FAQs page on our website. So you may check that as well. All right, Cayo de Castro.
Hello, can you hear me?
And I'm sorry, I don't know, I may not have pronounced your first name correctly.
No, it's okay.
Okay, but thank you for joining.
Thank you. Actually, I have two questions. First, I would like to know, would the Cambridge be considered as a proof of proficiency?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Because I actually took it like 3 years ago, so I don't know if it would be best to take it again or to take the TOEFL, the IELTS, that would be more recent.
So this is what we would do, and this, similar to the question asked earlier, you would have to complete just the waiver request saying, I request waiver of the TOEFL or IELTS, I've completed the Cambridge assessment. I mean, since it is a 3-year-old test, we would require, of course, the score report that you completed. You could fax, or not fax, you could scan and email that to us. And then we would schedule a separate Zoom video English assessment where we can, just visit with you and have an updated opportunity to assess your English. Part of the reason for that 2-year requirement on the TOEFL or IELTS is to make sure that people haven't lost fluency since they took that, prior assessment. And so that's why we will typically schedule a Zoom assessment as well.
I see. And also my other question, you guys mentioned that we need to give you a recommendation letter. I would like to know if this letter needs to, would it be evaluated by a Brazilian counterpart, or it should be sent to you in English?
Well, that's a great question. So it would need to be in English.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Those are great questions. I believe Beatrice, you're next.
Yes, I'm the next. First of all, I just want to say that I'm very happy to be here, but unfortunately, I am in my first semester, so yeah, I can't participate. But however, I just want to know how much it costs because I forgot to see. I don't remember.
No worries, Beatrice. Well, thank you for joining us. And, it's never too early to start planning. I mean, you have amazing graduate programs at Mackenzie, and this is, certainly this partnership is another way that you can expand your legal education. And I encourage you to join us for our webinars as well, because over the years, you'll have an opportunity to get to meet a lot of our faculty members and administrators as well. So the quick answer is, thank you. I don't know, when you're ready to apply, I don't know what the scholarship will be at that point. But right now, through the partnership, for those starting in August and in January, we are able to offer the program at $9,500 US dollars total for the 20 credits.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Beatrice. Let's see. I think Gabriela has a question next.
Hi. Actually, I don't know if you already explained this, but my question is, to participate, I just have to send the email with all the information to you, or there is any other way?
Yep. Probably, Gabriela, the easiest way to start the application process would be to email both Walter Hawes and myself. Our contact information is on the slide deck. And then we are able to send you kind of the step-by-step application instructions. We do accept applications through the Law School Admission Council portal, but you don't have to proceed through that. You're able to email all of the documents directly to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think Gabriela's next.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the presentation. I have two main questions. First, is it possible to applying for the bar doing only the master's program?
So I guess so Gabrielle, have you completed your bachelorette degree already?
No, I'm in the 7th semester.
7th semester. Okay.
Yeah.
So a little bit of extra background. If you visit the National Conference of Bar Examiners website and you look at that comprehensive guide to bar admission, you'll see there are about 35 states in the United States that allow foreign educated law school graduates to apply for bar admission into the US. They look at different factors, and whether it's civil law, common law, work experience, LLM. And so once you graduate with your bachelorette degree, you can, when you've completed your LLM with us, you are then going to be eligible because you will have met that legal education requirement, at least for California and Washington State, where you would be able to, complete the bar exam there. One clarification is every state sets their bar requirements, and for Washington State, they do require 26 credits. California requires 20 credits. But that's something that we are able, again, as a program director, I would meet one-on-one with you, and we could go through that advising process where you say, okay, this is the bar I'm thinking of taking. This is when I'm going to finish my bachelorette degree, and then we can map out, okay, these are the courses you should be taking. And this is the contact at the bar. You should follow up with them for their application process.
Perfect, thank you. I have one more question.
Sure.
I was very interested on the program for researchers. Lately, I've been researching about law and technology. Could you tell us more about this part of the program?
Oh my gosh, wow. Well, I wish you were taking the program this May, because the professor teaching Introduction to U.S. Law actually specializes in the field of law and technology. I believe actually he is also scheduled to do a webinar with Mackenzie. So I'd encourage you, when you stay tuned, and maybe we can make note, Walter, we can make note of Gabrielle's contact information. We can let you know and make that connection. So right now, the curriculum that we have does not have courses in law and technology, but we do have at least one of our professors specializes in this field and does scholarship, in the field. We're also looking at possible publication opportunities. I'm a member of the Florida Bar and the International Law section here, and they have actually asked me, if there are articles that we'd be interested in getting published. So there certainly are those opportunities. Through in the Law and Tech program at University of Dayton, there are seminars and webinars that we have as well. And there is the possibility that down the line we can expand and include some additional courses in that area, or at least workshops in that field.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I will text you with some informations about the research, and then we can talk more. Thank you.
Wonderful. And we can perhaps make an introduction and connection to our professor. I'm sure he would love to visit with you.
And I love it too. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I think Ivan is next.
Okay, great. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Professor Margaret, great presentation. I love it. And I'm really glad to see that many students of mine are interested in this program. So I teach in the 7th semester. And I'd like to know, after the tuition, after the application, how is the classes, what kind of activity our students can expect?
Thank you, and thank you for joining, and thank you for spreading the word to your students. I mean, I'm sure I can speak for Walter. He's muted, so he can't say anything right now, but we're very, very impressed. And everyone who's spoken so far, your English proficiency is outstanding. So I hope don't have any concerns for applying from that perspective. For students that are in the program, they can expect when they enter the online platform, they will see the lectures, they'll see welcome messages from the professor, video welcome messages, written announcements as well. We have the discussion boards in each class site, and then they're able to stream or even download and watch the lectures. Actually, all of our lectures are 10 to 20 minutes, so they're nice and short. And for students who want to just download them for future reference, they can do that. All of the PowerPoints can be downloaded as well. And so a lot of students find that very helpful. In terms of class interaction, students are able to complete collaborative reading assignments. So they read the text together online and they're able to post and collaborate within the reading assignment. There are also discussion boards. And then we use Zoom as our preferred kind of online platform. And so office hours are held through Zoom weekly. And then also we have live review sessions that the professors hold through Zoom. Separate from that, we also have webinars that we conduct for our students, and they're able to connect there as well. I'm actually working right now on putting together a list for, unless the student opted out, if they are interested in putting together the list of all the students in the program. So that way they're able to make connections with each other as well around the world. Because most of the students, even though you're not required to be licensed to be in the program, most of them are licensed and working in different parts of the world. And so they wanted to really be able to make those connections with each other as well.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I think Johanna is next.
Hi, Professor. Nice
Hi.
to meet you, and thank you for the presentation. I have just one question. You mentioned that we could start the program next year in January. I would like to know if we have to apply for the next year now in June.
So actually you can start in August or in January. And so the application for August is of course open, so anyone can apply now. I think we are working on the January one, but if you email Walter and myself, then we'll be able to follow up with you even with that January application.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I believe Juliana is next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I actually have two questions. The first one is, I'm the first semester, and I would like to know if there is anything that can be done to speed up the whole process. And the second question is, I would like to know how it would work the on-campus, like if there's a difference of tuition, and how can I study the rest of my Brazilian semesters and do the LLM program at the same time? How would that work?
Well, these are great questions, Juliana. And just as clarification, you mentioned you're in your first semester. Is that correct?
Yes.
First semester in the Bacharel program.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. All right, so so this is great, actually. So there's time that we can work through these issues. And so the quick answer is, for the on-campus program, no, the scholarship, the guaranteed scholarship would not be available, there. It would be the full tuition rate of the $37,110 is the full amount. It's paid by credit at $1,237 per credit. Having said that, something that we are exploring as a possibility in the future is for those students who might be interested in completing part of the program online and part of it on campus, being able to provide that opportunity that will help to keep the cost down, make it a little bit more affordable, but also allow students to be able to start the program while still working through the Bacharel program, but also give them the opportunity for that, the mobility and being able to have that experience at the University of Dayton campus. So I would encourage you to just keep in touch with Walter and me. This is something that, we are working on, especially post-COVID, because right now I think that's not an option, but post-COVID it is something that we're looking at, and we can have additional information on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I believe Rafaela is next. Rafaela, I'm hearing some static, so I don't know if there's an issue with the connection.
No, Rafaela, we can.
No?
If you prefer to go down.
Let's see. No, Rafaela, I'm not able to hear you. Would you like to submit in the chat and then we can address it there? Perfect. So Rafaela is working on she's typing the question into the chat. Okay, so I'm going to move to the next question, and then Rafaela, once you've typed it in, we'll be able to address that question. Nicole. Nicole?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can. Thank you.
So you said that you are still studying about in post-COVID world, like to be able to do a part online and part in the university. But I'm still in the fourth semester, and so I still have like a year until I can apply. But I like to know if I would be able to like make my course online, but maybe visit the campus just to know how the university is.
Yeah, Nicole, that's a great question, and it is an option. So we mentioned the Law and Technology. Every year there's a big conference, and normally it happens on campus. This year, because of COVID, the full seminar is going to be live streamed. So yes, there are events happening on campus, and we'd encourage for students that are pursuing the program 100% online. That doesn't mean you can't visit the campus. At any moment, if you'd like to visit the campus, you can. We are even happy to work on an invitation letter that you can present to the consulate in connection, or even upon admission in connection with entry as a visitor. And you're able to participate in the events that are happening on campus. We'd ask for anyone who's planning to do that, just let us know in advance, and then we are able to even set up some meetings with some of your professors and even some of the deans that are at the school, so you really have that opportunity to build those connections.
Okay, thank you. That would be great. Like
wonderful. And of course, once you graduate from the program, then you can come to the big graduation event as well, which is every May.
Yes.
Thank you. And let's see if Rafaela has submitted the question in the chat. I'm just checking. Oops. Okay, so the question is, I'd like to know how long after we make our application we'll have the result if we were approved or not. Okay, that's an easy one. Generally within 1 to 2 weeks, once the application is complete, we're able to make those decisions. And it looks like another question from Rafaela, and then Marilia, I'll come back to your question as well. So Rafaela, another question is that you said in New York we can't take the bar because the state does not accept online LLMs. If we pretend it will be acceptable in the future, would we be able to take the exam? Okay, that's a great question. I don't know. I wish I knew. If I knew the future, I would buy a lottery ticket. So but I don't know. When bars change their eligibility requirements, you don't know if is something that will be retroactive or prospective. So I think that's something that we would have to see. But I would say if your only interest is in the New York bar, then I would say an on-campus LLM would be the better option. But I would encourage you to check directly with the New York bar as well, because they might have additional insights. One of the things that has happened with COVID is there's become increasing acceptance of online education. So that might be something that can change in the future. And I see, okay, and Rafaela, so you want California? Okay, so perfect. Then California could certainly be an option with the 20 credits. But here's another thing that we haven't discussed tonight, and that is, if you are successful in California or in Washington, which are two states that we know accept online education, online LLM education, then you're in a different position when you apply to a different state bar, because at that point you are licensed in another state and applying based on that. So there could be other options as well. Again, the best starting point is that National Conference of Bar Examiners website and their comprehensive guide to bar admissions, and then checking directly with the state bar. And it looks like there's another question. Marilia, I currently live in the US. Could I go to the university to attend some classes? Okay, that is a great question as well. The quick answer is that if you apply for the online LLM program, you can pursue all the online LLM courses, and you're able to get that guaranteed scholarship. If you study on campus, then those classes are cross-listed with JV students. So you would need to see the availability for enrollment on campus, and you would need to meet the English proficiency requirement for on campus, which is a 100 on the TOEFL exam versus the 80 on ours. And then again, there is not a scholarship available for the on-campus classes. But if you're interested in that and you're already in the US, we can certainly explore that possibility. Here's a question from Beatriz. Does a month-long exchange program count as proof of proficiency along with the C1 certificate? Yes, well, the C1 certificate will qualify, and so that would again be something that you would present in connection with a waiver request for the TOEFL or the IELTS. And here's a question from Fabio. Please, I'd like to know which is the time limit to complete all the required credits to finish the course. All right, you have up to 3 years, but you are able to complete in 1 year or less if you are taking 4 classes per semester. And let's see. From Victor, what is the minimum semester we have to be in to apply? If you're in the Bachelorette program, then the 7th semester in order to be able to apply. And here's a question from Rodrigo. I know you didn't mention scholarships today, but if I'm one of those who received it, can I take all the materials for free or just the minimum necessary materials? Okay, so there is a law in the Americas Fellowship, excuse me, where a full scholarship could be awarded to one student, and that would cover the full program up to the full 30 credits. As we mentioned, and that is, there's a formal application process for that. We'll probably have more information on that in an upcoming webinar. But outside of that one opportunity, the scholarship that we are offering applies for up to the full 30 credits. And let's see, from Anna, I'd like to know if the LLM offers any IP subjects. Unfortunately, Anna, no, it's not, but it's something that we are looking at in the future because we have seen a lot of interest in law and technology and intellectual property as well. So it's something that we are exploring moving forward. All right, here's a question from Beatriz asking, if you complete the program and pass the bar, do you have programs that facilitate a job search in the US? The answer is yes, and you don't even need to wait to complete the program and to complete the bar exam. You actually are eligible as a student, even within your first semester, to meet with the Career Services Office, and they can start helping you plan ahead for your career. In fact, I would encourage that because that might help a student decide which bar exam they want to take, which student activities they might want to participate in, and even which webinars they might want to join. It also gives us an opportunity to help that student make connections on campus with professors that work in and even alumni that work in a particular field. I think I may have covered all of the questions. I see just Rafaela's hand up, but I believe I answered the questions through the chat. Let's see if any other ones come through. Perfect. All right, well, I think we have a little bit more time just as we wrap up. If anyone has any final questions, I think we even addressed some of these in the webinar already. We talked about the bar, the real-time interaction, flexibility within each course. So thank you, Walter, for posting this one. We didn't really talk about this, but it's very important. We talked about how everything is pre-recorded and students can access it, but that we also have optional live sessions, even weekly and throughout the semester with our professors. But what we haven't talked about is, well, what is your grade based on? And so I can tell you, now that one semester just ended and the next is beginning, 50% of your final grade comes from the final exam, which is offered online. It's multiple choice and essay, and it's proctored online. So as long as you have internet and a webcam, you're able to take that exam. 20 to 30% of your grade is the midterm exam, again, multiple choice and essay. And then the remaining 20 to 30% of your grade comes from discussion posts, collaborative reading assignments, and essays that are completed throughout the semester. For those, we give students at least a 2-week period in between assignments. So that way you have plenty of time to work through this. So a lot of our students will, if they work full time, then they do all of their course materials on the weekend. Others like to work a little bit every night. So you have that flexibility as to how you want to work through each of your courses. You also have that flexibility as to how you work through the entire program. And that's where we've talked about, if you want to take 1 course per semester, you can. If you want to take 4 courses per semester, you can do that too. And Pedro, I believe you replied to Mateus's question. Okay, yes, the 7th semester, so perfect. And we've talked about the payment processes. And the hours per week, that depends upon you. So I'm going to wear my professor hat here, and I will tell you, you will get out of the courses and out of the program what you put into them. At a minimum, I would say for every course, you should plan at least 8 to 10 hours of studying per week, at a minimum. And I encourage you, the more time you spend in the course, the more you're going to get out of that, not only in terms of the legal doctrine, but also in terms of getting to know your professors and your classmates and really feeling connected to the University of Dayton community. When is that going to be helpful? That's going to be really helpful when you plan to take the bar exam, because you're going to need good moral character references. And a lot of times the requirement is that they be licensed in the United States. And I get to know all of our students, but I can't be the only one that will write the, the character reference for students. So it's really important to get to know your professors. Let's see, another question. Thank you, Pedro. You posted information, the website link, so you're able to access more information there. Okay, I think those covered all of the questions. So we can move maybe to the final slide, Walter. That is the University of Dayton campus. So as I mentioned, we hope that even if you're pursuing 100% online, that should you ever visit the United States and want to make a stop or a planned visit in Dayton, Ohio, we would love for you to visit the beautiful campus there. And as I mentioned, if you let us know with anticipation, we will be able to even connect you with some of your professors and administrators on campus. So I think with that said, Pedro, I will turn things maybe back over to you. And once again, I just want to say a huge thank you to Mackenzie University for this opportunity to be here tonight, and for all of you who have attended and stayed tuned to the end. And for anyone watching the recording, thank you for staying tuned to the end as well.